Okay, so like on television shows, Pranalika, you've been on television shows, they have these cue cards with a person who stands behind the camera and the cue card is raised, cry, laugh. So today I'll tell you to cry. No, I'll not tell you to cry, I'll leave that to the moderator and the panelists. I'll tell you to clap because a lot of time, there'll be a number of instances in my short little wannabe cool speech where you have to clap. So firstly, my magazine Kindle is turning 4 in 3 days time. So not yet. I'll raise the cue card only then roll through. For those who don't know about the magazine, this is a monthly English magazine. We mainly do stories on art, culture and politics. And we organize such events all through the year. Discussions, film screenings, debates, workshops. So do join us on our Facebook page and group. And we can promise that we don't spam that often, maybe 1 or 2 posts a day. So that's about the magazine and about our 4-year journey. 4 years of relentlessly long cover stories, 2,000 word, 3,000 word cover stories. 4 years of many events where very few people turn up. Some events where lots and lots of people turn up. And 4 years of intellectualizing everything from sex to Anna Hazare. So here we are, Kindle, a precocious kid. So now you can clap. Thank you. And this discussion is in association with Prantubhatha. Aruna was there, he will make a concluding speech, so maybe you can clap for later on. Now about the discussion, how public is private, gazing at gender, identity and taboos. Now the trigger was of course Pinky Pramani. But then we've been facing this question over the last few weeks, isn't why again Pinky when she's not even news anymore, she's got bail. Thankfully she has got bail, but our response to that is, what about those 20,000 hits on Google and on YouTube to check out her criteria? What does it say about us, our vulgar curiosity to know a person's gender, and what are gender rights? Is it so simple that you just look at my appearance and you know what is my gender? So these are questions that need to be discussed, these are questions that need to be probed. And to add to that is the fact that this is the month of the Delhi High Court ruling, 2nd July 2009. 3 years since then, quite a journey. The media somewhat shares a love-hate relationship with the community, it seems. Sometimes they are very so-called liberal, and sometimes just look at the way the media sensationalized the whole Pinky case issue. So that needs to be probed. And another question that was coming to my mind is, what is this whole idea about the American Center and American funding and gay rights, Obama speaking for gay rights? Just by supporting gay rights, you become progressive. Is that the yardstick for being progressive these days? So by supporting gay rights, do you wash away all your sins in Iraq and Afghanistan and other places? Terms like homo-nationalism and pinkwash have already come to the fore. So these issues need to be discussed. But again, I'll just call upon our moderator, Shruti Roy, who's been incredibly sweet. Just one phone call and he agreed to be a part of this discussion, so he's going to moderate today's session. He is the culture editor of First Post. So, Shruti, please.
Hi everybody, and thank you for coming. Thank you, Shan, for the introduction, and thank you, Kindle, for asking me to come here. Let me actually, because I feel very barren and exposed here, let me call the panelists on and then we'll get started. So today I have Shashwati Ghosh, Kuntala Ghosh-Dostidar, Koshi Gupta and Tisa Das to come and join me here. Well, Sharon actually gave a very good introduction as to why we are having this discussion, because it's almost the end of July and the whole sort of Pinky Pramani story has been relentless, and then as soon as she got bail, it obviously moved from the front page into community news and then further out, and that includes my own outlet, First Post. So I'm not doing any holier than thou thing, where everybody is driven by the same sort of TRP ratings and media pressure and all of that. But before I start, I'm going to probably speak in a combination of English and Bangla, if that is okay, because I think the panelists also want to do the same thing. So it'll be a combination of English and Bangla, and we'll try to keep it as interactive as possible. আমি সবাইকে প্রথমে একটা কোয়েশ্চেন করে একটু ডিসকাশন করে, and then সবাই initial statements গুলো বলার পরে we'll try and take as many questions as we can. But one of the things that thinking about this, I thought, 2009 when there was the High Court verdict on Section 377, there was a landmark verdict. And the thing that was very interesting about that verdict and the whole case was the case had been going on for a long time. NAS initially filed the case long before that. Then for the first time, homosexuality, or as Art 377 calls it, sex against the order of nature, instead of looking at it purely from a public health perspective, they switched the angle to also a human rights perspective. It was a big critical difference. Again, it was using the HIV/AIDS crisis as sort of the big thing. The basic message was, let's keep morality aside, whether it's homosexuals, intravenous drug users, sex workers, whatever, morality aside, HIV/AIDS is a profound crisis and we need to distribute condoms. That was the main reason to file the case. A current case, it became it is also a human rights issue. And that caused some amount of consternation. Is the court, is the country ready to hear that kind of argument? Because suddenly, we were talking about AIDS, drug use, or whatever, all of the people as people, humans who had rights. And but when the judgment came down, it was incredibly strong, and it was an incredibly powerful affirmation of the human rights angle of all of this. And part of the thing which I noticed sort of following Oishamai, media was immensely supportive. There were media a sea change in the last 10 years. English language media editorially were absolutely totally supportive. It doesn't mean যে যারা এডিটোরিয়ালটা লিখেছিল তাদের ছেলে মেয়ে যদি এসে বলে আমি গে বা লেসবিয়ান, তাদের এমব্রেস করে নেবে. It doesn't mean that, but at least on a more hypothetical level, there was a lot more support. So media sensitization had obviously happened and been very, very successful. So then come now to 2012 and something like the Pinky Pramanik case happens, and immediately all hell breaks loose. It feels like we are back to a certain time when everything like যদি ঠিক বাক্সটা খুঁজে না পাওয়া যায় এটাকে ক্লাসিফাই করার জন্য everybody's worst instincts come to the fore. So এইখানে even when you were talking, Shayan, you said that these are these questions that need to be probed, and in fact probed became this loaded word in the context of the Pinky Pramanik case, and in a way probe is the word we have become used to in our sort of 24/7 media cycle. The ATV beshi probe korche na or too much probing hocche, but all of it is in a way the perfect word for the way media has become in our life and the way it intrudes into our lives. So in a way we shall hopefully probe, but I don't know what is the opposite of probe, which probe means to go in deep, but sometimes we also need to open it a little wide, and we'll try and do a little bit of that in this discussion. So Prathame, I'm going to start with you, Shashwati Ghosh, and who's an associate professor of economics and a human rights activist. এবং আমি জিজ্ঞেস করবো যে এই বলছিলাম from a human rights perspective, আমি যে বললাম 2009 অনেক মিডিয়া সেন্সিটাইজেশন হয়েছে, প্যারেন্টসরা এসেছে টেলিভিশনে টু টক অ্যাবাউট দিস কাইন্ড অফ ইস্যুজ, রাইটস নিয়ে অনেক কথাবার্তা হয়েছে, বাট what did the Pinky Pramanik case expose to us the human rights angle কি gaps এখনো আছে, কি taboo, what is still taboo here?